Oh, your blush brush.
Oh.
Hairs.
Really? I thought
But it
I
looks
just
like
looked at that.
menopausal hairs, but...
Just growing out on the side of your nose. Is that what happens?
No, those are the curly ones growing out of my...
beard out of your nose.
Yeah, those are the curly ones growing out of my cheeks. Well, hello, fine-tuned female friends.
Hello.
So, Tata, how have you been?
Don't ask.
I can hear how you sound.
This show is going to have a lot of sniffling and hacking and beautiful sounds coming from my body that no one needs to know about.
That's why we have a mic condom.
Yes, we do. We have a little condom on our mic.
Yeah. So we're all
Protection.
fine.
Yeah.
So we're super excited today because we have our second guest, Nina Tooley.
Hello.
And let me tell you, I mean, she might not be a household name yet, but whenever I talk about a woman that I think can do it all, when I think of like the woman who has an amazing family, a handsome husband, adorable kids, an incredible education, a loving family, and CMO, started a couple of businesses, incredible brains and beauty. I always think of you. And I'm not just saying that because you're here and you've drove all the way over to Anita's house to do this.
Well, you're setting expectations really high. I'm a little worried.
She has the perfect life.
Definitely not.
So when we were talking about bringing in guests, you were the first person who came to mind because I was like, who do I know that's over 40 who like has it all and is very inspiring? And I thought, Nina.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So welcome to our Fine-Tuned Female
I'm
podcast.
so excited to be here.
And
It's awesome.
podcast.
Yeah, and I love that you're doing this. I think it's great to have something for women over 40 because it's a very specific time in your life. So.
And it's a time we're going to need each other the most.
Yeah, and you know, I think that a lot of marketers, they really focus on women who are 30, 35. Right, and you know, having been a marketer, and there's just not enough out there for like us. And then forget it, you know, women in their 40s, and now you turn after 50, and then like you're invisible.
Yeah, you
Right.
definitely become, especially in this city.
Yeah, so fuck that
Yeah.
noise. We're here to make some noise for the over 40, over 50. Woo!
Oh, it was a cough. And
How's that one doing?
That was great. It's suddenly
That has
collapsed
nothing
now.
to do with 40.
No, that's just hell.
So let's talk about some fun stuff first.
Okay.
So before we get into like all about you, your life, and your amazing new company, I want to talk about the fact that you're one of my friends or one of my few friends that is a celebrity kid. So your dad was somebody who's near and dear to every single person who's over 40 watching this show or listening to this show knows your dad as Batman.
Nailed it.
So you're the daughter of Adam West. What was it like growing up being a celebrity kid? Like I don't have any friends that can ask that too, but you.
It's so funny even being called a celebrity kid because I never saw myself as that growing up. Well, it was definitely... I didn't think it was unusual until I was probably in my 20s. And looking back, I was like, wow, I guess it was kind of different from other people's childhoods.
Really?
So, yeah, we definitely had, there were some unusual things about it. But my dad was always super down to earth and he was such a great family guy. So when he did come home after work, it was just he was like in the kitchen cooking or he loved ironing. He would mow the lawn. So there was really no pretense around it. But yeah, we'd go to a restaurant and no one would be able to get a table and they would seat us immediately. Or back in the day before 9/11, like they would hold the plane for him. And, so little things like that. There were some great perks, of course, but he really wasn't part of this Hollywood culture. So I think that made a big difference.
How did he not be, though? It's so hard to not have your private life involved in your public life.
I think he made a very definitive choice. I just think there's something about the entertainment industry that he was not attracted to, and that whole like the networking part of it and the all of the dark stuff that you hear about. Yeah. He really was a true artist, and we lived in LA when I was little, and then we moved to Sun Valley, Idaho when I was around 10 years old. And so he didn't want to raise us in this culture here, which looking back, I'm very thankful for. At the time, I was like, where are we moving? I'm going to live on a potato farm? I didn't know what Sun Valley was, really.
Well, there's sun and there's a valley.
So he was kind of like half celebrity, actor, artist person, and then half like very down to earth, almost like cowboy person.
Yeah, he sounds
too.
really grassroots in a way.
Yeah,
like
very
down to earth
lots
and
of
salt
grit.
of the earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he was so committed and focused to his work, and I would say that's one of the things that I took away from growing up with him, was seeing someone who persevered for so long. I mean, he was an actor for about 60 years.
He was acting till right before he
Right.
passed.
Yeah, exactly. And never gave up, and had lots of ups and downs. And so I came along after the Batman series ended.
Oh, okay.
So my experience was different from my older siblings. There's 6 of us total.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Big family.
It was like the Brady Bunch. So my dad had 2, my mom had 2, and then they had my brother and I together.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And so it was a big, crazy, mixed up family. And so I didn't experience like the Batman era, which my older siblings did. And that was definitely, they had that kind of more celebrity lifestyle.
Right, yeah.
But what I did see was, him go through many years where he really struggled as an actor and just was still committed to his craft and took a lot of work. And I was the one kid who went on set with him all the time and tagged along, and I was just fascinated by it. So I got to watch him really, kind of struggle as an artist and then become popular again when he started doing Family Guy.
Right.
And there was this whole Batman revival as all of the younger Bat fans turned 40.
Bat fans.
Yeah. And really started to appreciate the nostalgia of it.
Absolutely.
So that was really cool to watch. So, yeah.
My boyfriend in high school, well, he wasn't in my high school. He was a couple years older, but he always had a phone in his car that was a red phone that was covered in a glass case.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And he would answer his phone, "Yes, Commissioner."
Oh my God.
It was in his car.
He would take it in his car, and then he'd go home and he'd plug it in. So he'd always have his bat phone with him.
That's so cute.
Yes, Commissioner.
That's really cute.
So Vance, if you're watching, plug.
Yeah, I had no idea of of the cultural impact that show had, because I was born in the 70s, so I was younger and it wasn't like at the height of the show at the time.
Right.
And I didn't realize it until later on, when a lot of these Bat fans had grown up and then were in the industry and took a chance on him again because they remembered what an incrable, groundbreaking actor he was. And how talented.
Oh my God, yeah. The bat dance in those purple tights. Come on. You're someone.
When I see that now, so I didn't even really watch Batman growing up, which I know sounds really weird.
Legendary.
But why would you watch your own father? You see this person like every day. So
Well, that's what I wonder. I wonder if you really do, partake in the whole thing. Do you watch it? Like, what's it like growing up with someone who's, that kind of character?
It's funny. I didn't really watch it because we didn't really talk about it at home. When my dad came home from traveling or working, because he would commute a lot to from Sun Valley to Los Angeles or wherever he was working around the world. When he came home, he was my dad.
Yeah.
So, and if he did come home with some sort of diva attitude, my mom would just slap him down immediately.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
So she kept it pretty real. So it was we didn't sit around watching Batman as a family. It wasn't until later on that I watched it and I really appreciated it as an adult and how just incredibly ingenious it was and wacky. And I saw that scene where he was dancing the Batusi, and my dad was a crazy, amazing, hilarious person, so it wasn't that weird for me to see him do that. I was like, oh yeah, that's my dad. That's how he behaves at home.
That's great.
If people didn't see the documentary, so your husband actually did a documentary about your dad. What was it called again?
Starring Adam West.
Starring Adam West. If you haven't seen it, where can people find it now? It was incredible. On HBO.
I think it's still on HBO.
It is, okay.
Yeah, and if you go to, I think, starringadamwest.com, you can order a DVD or you can get it on, I think you can get it on
streaming?
Apple TV. Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
It was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because that documentary really evolved over time. So it started we were trying to get my dad a star on the Walk of Fame for years.
I remember.
was kind of leading this charge with Ralph Garman from K-Rock. And I mean, for years and years and years. And so James started documenting that process, and then the whole thing kind of evolved, and we'd go to Comic-Cons and interview fans, and it had a happy ending, which is so great. So he got his star, which was really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because most other people, they just shell out the money, right, and get it. And so your dad, you didn't really do the political way or the, just
the
shilling.
studio way. I mean, a lot of studios will, it'll coincide with someone coming out with the film, and then a lot of people get it because, they're legends or icons in their industry. And but I remember the year before he got his star, we were rejected. and I think Tinkerbell got a star, and I was like, Tinkerbell! Oh my God! Give me a fucking break. I was like, what?
Yeah, come on.
I was really disheartened by that. I was like, wait, Adam West didn't get a star, and Tinkerbell? I just can't.
How did your dad handle that?
I almost gave up. You know, he always had a good attitude. I think because he, you know, he had chosen not to like play the game his whole life, which hurt his career.
Yeah.
Too. I think he just kind of shrugged it off and said he didn't need it. But then when he got it, I knew it made him really happy.
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
sure, yeah.
And so what kind of influence was your mom
I was just gonna say, yeah.
on him and on you? Like, how did they meet?
And did she
Yeah.
did she have her own career? Or did she stay at home and take care of the kids? Because you're such a big family, so.
Yeah, so she
Okay.
was a stay-at-home mom most of my life. I remember she worked briefly for the 1984 Olympics here.
Oh, wow.
So she's French. She's
Oh,
from originally from Lyon, then
Oh,
grew up
yeah.
outside of Geneva on the French side.
Y'all can talk
And-
French in front of me.
And but for the most part, she was a stay-at-home mom, and she's had a really interesting life. So she came to this country. She married an American who was the son of the man who invented the Learjet.
Oh my goodness.
John Lear.
Really?
And, yes. And so that's how she came over, and then had my sisters. And she and my dad actually met on a photo shoot for the Learjet with Batman.
Oh my goodness.
And she was, and this is such a funny story, she said that she was kind of scared of my dad because she thought he was, like, grown men don't dress in costumes in
Okay.
France. She thought that was really strange.
Those French.
Now they have more like comic book culture there.
Right, yeah.
It's more international, but at the time in the like 60s or
Yeah,
whatever
it wasn't
was,
as
70s,
globalized. Yeah.
yeah, it was a very weird thing for her.
Sure.
So we actually have the photo, and she's kind of holding my sisters like away from him, like that total creeper.
Like when you're scared of a clown?
I was scared of clowns as a kid, so I get that.
That's a great description. Oh my God. And so that's when they first met. And, you know, I don't know what transpired after that, but I think that my mom was kind of, her marriage was on the rocks. And then my dad just tracked her down in Europe and found her.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't
How
know.
old were they when they met? Or when they got married, let's say?
My parents?
Yeah.
Let's see. My mom is a mystery woman, so she
Oh, you
won't really
can't
tell
really
us what
reveal.
her age
What-
is.
Well, she was
Area.
adopted, right?
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
During World War II.
She was an orphan who got adopted. Is that the story?
Yeah. By this
Ooh, that sounds
incredible,
nice.
I know.
Do you like that?
That just pains
I've been
me
working on
to hear
it.
that.
Actually, it'll get better.
So she was born either at the beginning of the war or the end of the war. I'm not
okay.
really sure.
Okay.
We don't ask.
So she's somewhere around there.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know, do the math, but she got married really young the first time, so it was when she was 19. So,
Okay.
yeah, but then my parents were together for over 40 years, you know, when my dad passed away. So,
that's
yeah, about
nice.
45 years. Mhm.
Yeah, such a loving family.
Yeah.
I mean, I only know from pictures that I see on Facebook, but so then you went off to college and you have an incredible education. Did your family stress education to you? Because you got your
Yeah.
well, you can tell everybody.
Well, so I went to Princeton, and I was really lucky to go to this amazing high school in Sun Valley. It was a very small school. It was very outdoor oriented, and there were only like 20 people in my class. So you got a lot of one-on-one attention.
Yeah.
But I'd always been academically very driven, just on my own. My parents never pressured me. Or my brother to do anything, to do like sports or, you know, they always supported us, but they weren't, I didn't have like a tiger mom, you know?
Yeah.
So, so I just was super driven on my own and end up at Princeton studying engineering.
Really? I didn't know that.
That is really.
I was such a big fat nerd in high school. I don't tell a lot of people this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I did like math competitions. I went to engineering camp.
Oh,
I did
wow.
engineering competitions, and
You're
I
a bit
was,
of a brainiac.
Yeah, I was like dead set. I loved doing. I loved singing and doing musical theater too, but I think I just kind of didn't even consider that as a career path because I saw how hard it was for my dad, and so. Because at the time when I was in high school, his career hadn't had that resurgence yet. So I think I don't know, going back to my high school self, I think subconsciously I was like, I'm not doing that. So I went full bore into engineering. And when I got to college, after about 2 years, I realized that wasn't the track that I wanted to be on. But interesting story about when I got to college is I hadn't told anybody who he was because I just don't tell people, you know. But people always find out. And prior to my freshman year starting, he had written a book. So I went on the book tour with him in New York because I was kind of always his like sidekick on these things. And someone heard me. So he went on Howard Stern. This is my only other time on radio. Really, I mean, literally like over 20 years ago. It's really sad. Or podcast, but at the time there wasn't podcasting. But so he went on Howard Stern, and I was in the green room, and Howard saw me and dragged me into the studio.
Oh, wow.
And like my poor little nerdy 17-year-old self was on Howard Stern
Oh
with
my
my dad.
God.
And it was terrifying. It was
Really?
terrifying. And I think somebody heard that. And so my roommate found out, and then everybody in my dorm found out, which I didn't know. And there was some salacious article about my dad in the National Enquirer at the time about like orgies they'd had on the set of Batman or something really like horrible.
I can't see your dad doing that, but
Well, also
maybe Eartha Kitt.
yeah,
Probably Eartha.
I don't know what. I was like, I don't even want.
Burgess Meredith and Eartha Kitt.
It was the 60s, you know. And one day I came back to my dorm like a week into school, and there was this National Enquirer issue on my bed, and I was like, this, first of all, this content is horrible. You know, to like read that about your own father
that's
is
kind of
Seriously.
nasty.
yeah, and someone had left that, and so for the most part, people were super nice and like loved it. You know, everyone responds very positively,
Yeah.
but the cat was kind of out of the bag after that.
Oh, okay. Oh my God.
I was like, thanks for this.
Yeah, what a way to
Welcome
open
to
up,
college.
come out.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay. So, all right. So, what turned you off to engineering, by the way? You said that wasn't going to be your track.
Yeah, I love math and science and engineering, and I still do. But it's such a specific, narrow track that you can't really study that early on. You can't really study anything else. So I wanted to take French literature. I wanted to take art history and have a more well-rounded education. I didn't realize I could only take like one of those classes a year.
I see.
And I also wanted to study in Paris and spend some time abroad, and I just couldn't do that on the engineering track. So
I see.
yeah, so that's what happened.
Okay.
But I still am really I subscribe to like popular science and popular mechanics. This is like my weird nerdy side that I now share with my 5-year-old.
That's great, actually. That's really great.
And then your next degree?
So then after college, for a while, I was an entrepreneur and just self-taught and kind of scrapped along. And then I got an MBA.
So in between, when were you working with accessories and beauty products?
So right out of college, I started my own handbag line.
Oh, that was right out of college.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I thought this is such a
So
long
from
story.
engineering to handbags.
I was just going to say,
it
what
actually went from
inspired you?
engineering to trying to do the acting thing for a while, which wasn't something I had chosen, but two things happened. One is when I was going to school in Paris, I was scouted by an agent sitting in a cafe, and who sent me to an agency there. It was Fashion Week.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, do you notice that I'm only 5'6"? It's like not going to work for anyone. And then she sent me to an agent in New York who signed me for commercials and stuff like that. And then I was on the Jersey Shore on vacation with my roommate's family, and her dad's best friend was a manager here in LA.
Uh-huh.
And so he said, if you move out to LA, I'll sign you. Because I moved to New York for a brief time after college, and I was trying to do the acting thing, but so hard. I was literally sharing a bedroom with one of my friends and eating like beans out of a can.
Right.
I mean, it was like horrible.
Right.
And my roommates were all investment bankers, and they were just like going out every night. You know? So I moved to LA and was working in restaurants and, you know, auditioning, and I got a lot of commercial work, which was great.
Right.
I'm definitely not the theatrical actor that my dad was. I discovered that pretty quickly.
Well, did you study some acting?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I took probably for about 3 or 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so I took acting classes. I worked as a commercial actor. I worked as a TV host, and I really enjoyed that. Like, I loved it. But it got to the point where, especially at the time, the only thing you could do was wait around for an audition and go work in a restaurant at night or as a bartender.
Right,
And there aren't all, like, now there are all these on-demand, like, cool jobs you can have.
Right.
Like, so I just started sewing and making handbags.
Really,
and
just like that?
Yeah, I just
You had
taught
no
myself how to
skills?
do it. I can't
Handbags
sew.
are pretty intricate to make, so it's
I
not
know.
something you can just
she
slap
was-
2 pieces of leather together and go voila.
Well, I started with vintage cloth because leather to me was like, okay, that's next level. I'm not the kind of person who can just sit still and wait for that phone call. Like, I just had to start doing things.
Right.
And so I just decided to teach myself how to sew, and I put them in my mom's store, and they started selling.
Oh,
and then
how
I
nice,
walked into Fred Siegel with them, not knowing anything about the industry or how you sell things. And I said, hey, I'm I make handbags. Do you want to buy them? And they were like, okay. They were so nice.
What were they made out of, though? Like, what did you...
I started making them out of vintage fabrics.
Oh, very
like
cool.
Really beautiful, like necktie silks.
Oh, nice.
And there were clutches, and they had some like rhinestone brooch, type of accents on them. This was back when like rhinestones were kind of popular.
Yeah.
This was in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, people always here in LA appreciate vintage.
Yes.
So did you put them on with a bedazzler?
I didn't have my bedazzler at the time. Yeah.
And the straps? How did you make the straps?
At the time, I was doing just clutches.
Okay.
And then I transitioned into leather handbags.
Right.
I found a manufacturer here in LA.
Oh, yeah.
So my business kind of like started
And you had to
growing.
finance all that by yourself?
I just bootstrapped it.
Wow.
And got into Kitson and Henry Bendel in New York and Bloomingdale's and
those were
didn't
great
know
times
that.
then. When,
Yes. Yeah.
handbags were on really hot.
I've known you for 10 years. You never told me that story. And did I
we're
tell you
usually
she
doing
can-
burpees together.
That's
That's why.
You usually can't breathe. I do all the talking.
Yeah, you're like killing me. I'm sweating.
But I told you she can do everything, right?
Yeah.
So this is one more thing.
Oh, my God.
Oh yeah, and then I taught myself to sew. But that's that engineering background of yours.
Yeah, I just can't I can't sit still and not do things. I'm just very interested.
Well,
in a
I
lot of
taught
things.
myself how to sew a button.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
there you go.
go.
And that's a practical skill
I
to
mean,
have,
really.
so that you can actually use that.
Yeah, it's great when you're traveling. I mean, it comes in very handy.
Yeah. Even Jim has learned how to sew a button or two.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
That's impressive.
So I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you had this whole handbag background. So then, how did you exit that, or why did you sell to someone, or?
No, so it was all self-financed and bootstrapped, and it got to the point where I had moved my production to Asia as well, and
Wow.
really got to the point where I had to either raise money to support it because cash flow is so difficult.
Well, did you have to
in
meet
that business.
minimums too?
Exactly, yeah. And simultaneously, I'd started another business with a partner making clothing, so like athleisure wear. This was before the athleisure wear trend really exploded. And I think Hardtail was like one of the only brands doing it.
I was a big Hardtail fan at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we licensed the brand Body Glove, which is kind of a
Right.
iconic Southern California, like 80s surf brand.
Right.
To do this line of
Great
apparel.
swimwear in the 80s, I remember.
Yeah, with the zipper.
Yeah,
the
I
neoprene.
had the neoprene.
Totally. So we thought we could kind of revive that brand through this line of athleisure, and saw the need in the market for that type, for like sexy, pretty workout gear for women.
nice. Yeah.
Which didn't really exist back then. It was like
Right.
Nike and Adidas, and
Right.
and so that kind of went along, and we had a few employees, and that partnership fell apart for a number of reasons. And then I had my handbag line at the same time, and it just got to the point where I was so burnt on
it's tough.
doing two things at the same time.
Right.
And the fashion industry, as you know more than anyone,
yes.
it's a tough industry.
Yes.
And
Hard enough to get one thing going.
Yes,
Never mind.
I had been through a lot with both of those businesses.
Right.
So
Well, the podcast industry is really easy now. So.
I'm loving it
Hop
so
on into
far.
that.
Yeah. I'm going to start my own now. Just like, ramble on about my weird stories.
So easy.
I will love you. Trust me.
Sorry, so go ahead.
No, this is
So the fashion
does
is
not look easy, actually.
It's a snooze compared to the fashion industry.
Yeah, fashion's crazy.
It
People
is.
are crazy,
It is.
and manufacturing is so hard.
It is.
And
It's always headache after headache after headache,
Yes.
and there's very minimal high points,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And there wasn't really the direct-to-consumer market back
No,
then.
no.
That exists now.
Yeah.
That would be a game changer.
That's a game changer in a good and a bad way.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
So I didn't feel like I wanted to take money from anyone for my handbag company until I really learned how to manage it properly and had that kind of rounded out my education.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I decided to go back to school and get my MBA.
Okay.
I just didn't feel comfortable taking that step until I really knew how to do it properly.
Yeah.
Because I was all self-taught. I mean, it was
Yeah.
scrappy, driving around my car downtown with reams of fabric in the trunk,
Well, that's how a lot of people do start,
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
They are self-taught,
Yeah, and it
So
was a
then
great way
after
to
your
do it.
MBA, then you started working at some large companies, because I know you from working in infomercials. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted a different experience. And when I was getting my MBA, I interned at Yahoo, and I fell in love with the digital space and digital marketing, and just thought this is where things are going. And Twitter had just launched, and I was on Facebook, and so that was really exciting to me.
Yeah.
So working at Guthrie Ranker was amazing. Their digital team didn't exist when I started there, and so I kind of hopped on board to help start it. And that was such an incredible education in direct response marketing.
So you had a lot to do with the marketing of Proactive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, on the digital side. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was very TV driven at the time.
Right,
It was
true.
like the digital business was very tiny.
Right.
But in terms of kind of getting it online and online as a demand
Right.
driver, not just capturing demand from TV.
Yeah.
So it was a big shift for them.
Right. And then you left Guthy-Ranker, and then
I went to a startup called Soul Society, which was a women's footwear startup.
we know all the names that she's saying.
I just I missed fashion.
Yeah. You went
and
back into it.
I did. I went back into it.
It always finds a way to drag you back.
Yeah, exactly. I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like a swamp. You're like trying
It's
to
like a
crawl.
drug. It's like you're going to get out of it.
And I have some of those shoes. I mean, they're very inexpensive, but they're so stylish. Like, I still wear them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
good
do
to
you
hear.
call them? Disposable fashion, basically.
Yeah.
You know,
I
wear
still-
'em
I didn't throw
once
mine
or
out.
Twice. No, you're good.
I still have mine.
But you probably only wore them once or twice.
Yeah, but they're really cute, and I made sure you gave me some timeless ones that are just
Yeah.
really adorable.
Aw.
I really like
That's
them.
nice.
Yeah,
That's
it
great.
was really fun. And that was so exciting because I also missed being entrepreneurial and having that kind of startup experience. When you're working for a bigger company, there are other challenges. I mean, it's very stable and you get a paycheck, you don't have to worry about everything.
Right.
But it's also, the pace is different. And so I was probably employee like 2 or 3 at Soul Society, and it was incubated by Hotelook at the time,
Right.
which was then purchased by Nordstrom.
Right.
And we started as a shoe subscription service, which at the time was like all the rage online. Like
Cool.
Shoe Dazzle, all these subscription
Yeah.
services. And then we kind of pivoted into growing this kind of direct-to-consumer women's shoe brand that was, getting a $150 shoe at the price for $50.
I know.
And that
It's
was, yeah.
And to look fabulous and fit good and,
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
comfortable and not fall apart.
Yeah.
They didn't fall
Yeah.
apart.
No.
They
were
really
pretty
did.
good, yeah. And I had a great time. I really, really enjoyed working with that business and helped it grow over the next 3 years and managed almost every aspect of marketing and really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
So-
it became a very substantial business.
Yeah, it's still going.
Is it
and,
still going?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were acquired by Vince Camuto.
Oh, right.
Which was the production partner, so
Right.
manufacturing partner. And then I just had lunch with the CEO a couple weeks ago because we stay in touch.
Oh,
and
nice.
They were just acquired by DSW. I
Okay.
think.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so then there's so much more. Like we're like halfway through.
Oh my God.
Halfway
This is
through
so
Nina's
boring.
career.
Are you sure you don't mind? It's like so boring.
Well, I want to get to
love it. Are
I
you
want to get
kidding?
to Little Llama, but you did
Yeah.
you did the advertising thing in between. That was after Soul Society.
Well, I had like a brief stint with a men's custom shoe startup.
yes, that's
you
right.
remember that one because
Yeah.
Jim was involved.
Right.
And that was a interesting foray into luxury and brick and mortar. But that was kind of like my startup experience that went awry. I think everyone in the startup world has one of those stories. So then I had my first son, and working in e-commerce and fashion, I mean, you work 24/7.
That's right.
Like your website never stops
Right.
working. So you're on call like Saturday morning at 6 a.m. It's
Right.
like, if the email doesn't go out.
Right.
And after I had my first son, I just realized, if I ever want to see him or spend any time with him, I'm not going to be able to continue working at this pace. And I just really wanted to kind of take it down a notch. And this agency, High, White, and Handsome, that I worked with, I was one of their first clients at Guthy-Ranker. And they were such an awesome group of people to work with and so smart, and I'd kept in touch with them. So I went to work with them as their CMO, and they gave me a lot of flexibility. And it was just like a great culture and
That's
wonderful
great.
people.
Yeah.
And really kind of went back into that brand building realm and learning from them, and it was just really great. It was a really fun couple years.
And then all of this led you to
Me too.
Little Llama.
Starting something again, like an
never
idiot. So I was so happy and comfortable at the agency.
So tell
You
us,
had to go and screw that all up again.
but you had to use all of this knowledge
Yeah.
to create your next business
Yeah.
that we're going to talk about right now. So
Yeah,
tell us
thank
about
you.
Little Llama.
So Little Llama is a virtual concierge service for children's gifts. And the way it works is you can reach out to us over text or email or through our website or DM us on Instagram, and we put together really awesome curated gifts for you for baby showers or birthdays. So it's really for busy parents who have to go to a million birthdays every weekend
Right,
and
yeah.
don't have a lot of time. or non-parents who don't know what to get for
Right,
kids.
yeah.
So we help with that curation aspect. But we do everything from start to finish. So we send you like 3 beautifully curated options. You just pick which one you want. We wrap it beautifully and ship it or deliver it for you.
That's great.
In a nutshell. Yeah.
Now, how many people are involved in this?
So I have 2 partners.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really scrappy startup
Wow.
right now. Yeah. And yeah, it's really the convergence of all of my professional experience plus my personal experience of being a mom of 2 boys that led me to this idea. And I had probably, I mean, I would talk to you about business ideas all the time, Jill. Like
all the
in our
time.
camp, yeah.
Right.
And I'd probably sketch out maybe 10 different business ideas, explore them, not just in my head, but like written business plans, reach out to people. And then this one came along, and I just thought, like, this is it, because it solves a problem. I had actually done this with my mom's store when I was going to all these baby showers I didn't know what to get, and I was working so much. I just texted the store manager, and she took care of all this for me. So I thought, how do we recreate this and scale it?
I was just going to say, where do you get all the product from? I mean, you don't have the product in inventory, do you?
We do.
Oh,
We
you
have
do? You
most of it in-
pre-buy everything?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
So we started with some really great brands that we love as moms. My 2 partners are moms also, and
Okay.
have also, one I met at
The
Soul
best
Society.
experts.
Yeah. So they're also like kick-ass, like female executives, like
Right.
really smart women. One I met at Pepperdine when I got my MBA, and the other I worked with at Soul Society. So really smart people. And yeah, we just picked some of the harder to find brands that we love, like Petit Bateau or Molo.
I know.
And
Petit Bateau has always been a big one.
it is. It's
through the
great. And
years.
it's actually pretty hard to get.
I know.
And then really beautiful and thoughtful books and activities and
Mm-hmm.
puzzles and accessories. And we put together brands that we've tested on our own kids that are
Right.
tried and true and more thoughtful and high quality. So
That's great.
Yeah, that's kind of where we
Yeah.
started. So yeah, we hold inventory. We do everything. So we do the
Oh.
buying, we do the shipping,
So
and
you
fulfillment.
you have a warehouse, like a third party, or?
No, we do it all from our office
You do it
right
all?
now. Yeah. It is like a real
It's
startup.
really homegrown.
Yeah, it's very
That's
homegrown.
great. How long has
Yeah.
it been in operation?
So we started testing it almost 2 years ago, which is so
wow.
crazy. Yeah. And we had a really awesome pop-up store in Abbot Kinney for a while. And then last April, we launched the text concierge business.
That's very
so,
cool. And
yeah.
the pop-up was for how long?
We thought it would only be like a month. It ended up being 4 months.
Oh, isn't that
it's like-
great?
yeah,
Yeah.
really
And
cool.
they keep popping up.
Yeah, right. And then we popped up at the new Palisades Village development.
Yeah, I haven't
over
seen that
Christmas.
yet.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, wow.
And then for Easter, we're going to be popping up all over the place.
Right.
So
At the Grove.
the Grove
Right.
and Palisades and
So these
Santa
are all
Barbara.
shishi lovely malls in LA.
Yeah.
In case
Yeah.
people are like, what is the Grove?
I know. Yeah, wherever parents are.
Any tourist that comes to LA goes to the Grove and the
gotta go to
Farmers
the Grove.
Market. Those are the must go tos.
It's like an experience.
Yes,
it's more
it
than a
is.
mall. It's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
it's really an incredible experience. And the Grove, I learned, is I think the second highest grossing shopping center in the country.
Really? And
I
it's
believe
tiny.
it. I believe it, though. Yeah, because
Oh,
it
wow.
has everything. And I mean, I've been there on a Monday morning or a Saturday afternoon. It's jam packed. It seems to have
Always.
every kind of different tourists from every part of the world.
Yeah.
I just
At
go
different
to
times.
Zara. and,
I do explore
and
a
Top
little bit
Shop.
more.
I do, and then I eat a little something.
I
think
love,
I've seen-
I love me some Zara.
Yeah, I love some, and then I hit some Nordstrom's.
Nordstrom's, yeah.
But to me, like, I would never have thought that, because it doesn't seem like if I want to shop, I go to Century City, another LA mall.
Right. Just been redone.
nearby.
We're comparing malls here.
Yeah. Well, we have to talk.
This
We're
is
women.
so LA. I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk malls.
This is so women over 40.
I know. Which
What
mall is
malls we go
best?
to.
For what reason, right? They all
Because if
like,
we were under 40, we would talk about what online shops
Yeah,
we
exactly.
frequent.
I don't even know what mall.
Okay, so let's talk about, at what point during this crazy trajectory of your career did you meet James?
very early on. So we actually first met in high school. So he's from LA, but he lived in Sun Valley for a year.
Oh.
And I think I was 13 and he was like 17 or 18 when we met.
Oh, wow.
Met meaning like platonically, just met because we were in a very small high school. Nothing, no funny business.
Well, he was like a senior and you must have been a freshman.
Yeah, I was like an 8th grader freshman. Yeah.
That's hot.
And
That is hot.
you're hilarious. And so we knew of each other, and then would see each other every holiday. Everyone kind of comes back to Sun Valley over the holidays, and then we reconnected in LA. We kept running into each other in LA. Like once I almost rented his apartment, not knowing it was his apartment,
God.
and then Yeah, it was really weird.
So that's clearly destiny.
Yeah, we kept we rode on the chairlift together in Sun Valley with his ex-girlfriend, my ex-boyfriend. I was teaching him how to ski, and I was like so frustrated. He was teaching his girlfriend. So it's like the universe kept putting us together.
Right.
Wow.
And then when I was, I think it was in 2001, one of my close friends, it was her birthday party, and she had just been to Cabo to a bachelorette party for her sister, and she came back and said, I met the greatest guy in Cabo.
Oh, God.
For you.
Like, for you.
Thank you. At a bachelor party, and he's going to be my birthday. I invited him. And I was like, okay, we'll see what she brought back from Cabo for me. And it was James.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Yeah.
That is just like Twilight Zone.
That's
crazy.
Right? Crazy.
We hadn't really like taken the time to talk to each other before. And for some reason, it hadn't like clicked. And we just sat and talked the whole night. Like we just hit it off, and we've been together since that day.
So 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Which is so crazy.
That is amazing.
And then at what point did you finally decide to have kids? So here you are. So you're this career woman. You have this incredible background. You're smart. You're a nerd. You're beautiful. You're into fashion. I mean, how many like nerd and fashion people are there in the world? Like none. And then you meet this guy, but in the meantime, you have this whole trajectory going. Get married. How long were you dating before you guys got married?
Almost 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're working and he's working, right?
And I was never really like in a hurry. I wasn't like a real girly girl, so I wasn't in a hurry to like get married, and then I wasn't in a hurry to have kids. And I knew I wanted a family, but I didn't have that like overwhelming maternal instinct to have babies. And
tell me about that, because we have a common friend, who is also from Guthy-Ranker, and her whole like mission in life is like gotta have a baby. How
old is she? How old is she? Is it because her clock is ticking?
Well, no, but even well before, because I've known her since she was like maybe 30, and she's like 40 now, right?
Yeah, she's wanted a baby for a long time.
Well, as long as I've known her, it's
that's
like
their lifelong dream.
Yeah, that's her lifelong dream.
Right.
And I'm like, well, what about your career? What about your career? She's like, I just want to have a baby. I don't give a shit. She's like, I'll leave. I shouldn't let everybody know Guthy-Ranker. Hey, she's going to be out of there. On that second kid, she gone. No, you're not watching.
God.
Edit.
Just apologize now.
Okay. I'm sorry if Human Resources calls you in to that department. Next week, my fault.
We have an issue.
Yeah. But she always wanted that baby, whether or not she was with a man or not. Like, how did you feel about that around that age? Because you guys are a similar age.
Yeah, I just never had that drive. And like, I don't know, maybe I was blissfully ignorant of my biological clock just ticking away.
Right.
I didn't feel an urgency. And I thought, well, if I can't have kids, I'll adopt kids. I always wanted to adopt.
Right.
So it was really funny. And James and I never... we had a very easy relationship, so we never really like sat down and had like serious discussions about things.
It's amazing.
And so I think, gosh, I mean, so our first son was born in 2014, so we had been together for a very long time.
Yeah.
Been married almost 9 years.
You were kind of used to your own routine at that point.
Yeah, and we kind of went out to dinner, and he was like, so you want to have kids? Or are we going to have kids? Like, what's happening? And he was like, I always thought my wife would like pressure me to have kids, or first she would pressure me to get married, and then pressure me. And he's like, and you never brought it up. So like, is it happening? And I was like, okay.
But did he want it? Is that what?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
he
he wanted a family, and I really wanted a family too. And I think I was a little bit scared of it.
Yeah.
And I think I was 38. Yeah. So
wow.
Then we decided, now or never.
Well,
because I was
basically
38.
that's it.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I would not, it's been the most incredible life-changing experience, and very challenging, but it's been the best thing I've ever done in my life. Like, so awesome.
Yeah, that you can still balance, work and everything, because it
definitely makes it harder.
Yeah, definitely.
But having kids, I'm just so thankful that I did it and I was able to do it and have 2 healthy boys. And
did you have them close together, or
they're only like 19 months apart.
Oh,
18,
wow.
Yeah. So the second one happened faster than I thought it would.
Just before you lose that baby weight, you're like, let's just go for it again.
Yeah, I'm that person. I'm like, let's just get this done.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's. Is it okay to mention how you almost died?
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh my God.
I mean, you kind of like
Yeah.
you died kind of for
Yeah.
that second kid. So
Yeah.
do you
Well,
have
Jill has been with me every step of the way through this whole journey, and
What?
I have to credit Jill for not only being an awesome friend, but
Right.
keeping my body from falling apart through my whole life.
kidding.
Yeah.
You're naturally like that.
No, it's been, well, I had horrible back problems before I started working out with you. And now, I mean, they were gone after, which is amazing.
Yeah, she's pretty
Back
incredible.
problems, too.
Yeah. And so through my first pregnancy, we worked out a lot and I was very healthy. And I was probably, I was hiking on the trail behind our house when I was like 9.5 months pregnant. I remember being on the single track and these women came up in a group and they looked at me and the woman was like, girl, you better be careful. I was like, why? Because I'm out like 2 feet out.
Well, you're trying to go into labor, that's why.
And with my second son, I did natural birth with both of them.
Oh.
And the first time it went well, and like everything was great, and I was like up walking around, and it was hard. Obviously, it's like very difficult, but nothing horrible happened. And then with my second one, the labor and delivery went fine. And then about probably, I don't know what the timeline was. It's very fuzzy, but like maybe an hour after I started hemorrhaging. Oh. And horribly, and they couldn't figure out why or how.
What happened?
My body just exploded. I don't know what happened.
Did they say what happened?
In
Did
layman's
something
terms.
rupture? I mean, obviously.
Yeah, a muscle tore,
Oh,
but not in a place where it wasn't like a usual suspect. It wasn't in a place where it usually happens. And so I bled out and had to have an emergency surgery and blood transfusion.
Oh my goodness.
And they thought that they had fixed it. And then probably a couple hours after my first surgery, maybe not even, I had a hemorrhage again and had to have another blood transfusion and another emergency surgery. Yeah, all in one day on Halloween. No, to top it all off.
Oh,
it was a horror show.
Yeah, it is a horror show. Were they filming or?
It was crazy. And
Did you get punked?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had gotten punked because that was.
How did you recover from all that? I
Yeah.
mean, it must have been hell because you had a newborn.
And a toddler.
And you had to breastfeed. Were you breastfeeding or did you not?
I tried my best. I mean, so in between surgeries, I hadn't even seen my son really because I had this thing happen immediately. And the scariest part to me was like as I was blacking out, there was a doctor I didn't know standing over me saying, we may have to give you a hysterectomy. We may have to perform abdominal surgery. Like, can we do this to save your life?
Oh,
and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, dude,
Right.
cut my legs off. Like, I have children.
Yeah.
And then the second one, they had no idea. They had to bring in like a team of oncology surgeons to.
Surgeons?
Yeah. I was at Cedar, so luckily I was at a
Okay.
great hospital.
Right.
They brought in like these secret surgeons through like a secret door. My husband was like, they came in like ninjas.
With black glasses.
Yeah, these two women were like amazing. And so they saved my life, thank God. But yeah, the recovery was tough. I tried breastfeeding and it just, I don't know, I think I was on a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
I was like really trying to make it happen.
Your body was trying to recover on its own.
Yeah. And I couldn't even, I was hooked up to all these like machines after for like 4 days. Like I couldn't even like really move my arms and legs. And
Were you conscious?
Yeah, I was, but I wasn't totally conscious of what had happened. And they had like a small detail, but it was like really bothered me that they tape your eyes down over during surgery.
Oh, during surgery, right.
Yeah, so you don't open your eyes and like dry them out. And they'd rip the tape off, and so all the skin around my eyes was gone. But I didn't know that because I was like just a hot mess, like lying there. And I remember thinking, like, my eyes are really hurting. Like,
What about your eyelashes?
yeah, I mean, I don't know what had come off. James, I was like, can you give me a mirror? And he's like, no, I'm not going to let you look at the mirror. And it took a while. I was very weak, and I was able to like shuffle around after like a week. But
Oh my God.
But luckily, they didn't have to remove any organs or do abdominal
great.
surgery or anything like that. They were just able to fix it internally. So actually, it was best case scenario given what had happened. Like I could have had a much more life changing surgery.
Right.
And then I probably after like 8 weeks, I was able to like go on a little walk and really feel some energy come
that's
back. And
really rough.
So I tried breastfeeding, and I had so many drugs from the surgeries.
Yeah, you just can't do it.
Which is
then.
ironic
Yeah.
because I didn't want any drugs when I went to
Yeah.
the hospital.
Yeah.
And I was going through withdrawal for all these like painkillers. Like I didn't take any when I got home.
No.
Because I just don't like that stuff. But that I just was having like the gnarliest migraines every time I tried to like breastfeed my baby.
I can imagine,
Because
yeah.
my body was like, hold on a second, like I can't even like recover myself. Like you can't beat someone
Well,
else
you've got
too.
your hormones, and then you've got all this recovery from the drugs and the
Yeah.
surgery. It's too much.
So I was like
your
trying
body
to push
was in
through.
shock, basically.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. So yeah, it took a lot longer than my first one. It was a very
boy.
humbling experience, and also like it was really traumatic too to go through that. And
I can't imagine.
It took longer for me to recover, I think, emotionally and psychologically and physically.
Do you think it changes your relationship with AJ, the younger one?
Yeah, I think it does a little. He's such an angel. Like, he is just the sweetest. He was like such a good baby.
Does he know he almost killed mommy?
No, I haven't. I'm going to tell that story at his wedding. Make him feel very guilty. Yeah, I definitely feel like a very different connection to him. Just for that reason, I think. So.
Well, I almost killed mommy too. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I was the only child. She didn't have any after me. So.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Lizzie Borden killed her, or
yeah, like I came out and I had a knife and I said,
tiny baby knife.
No, I mean, she had a lot of problems too. She had an allergy to the epidural, and then her throat swell up, and I wasn't even supposed to be. I was supposed to be miscarried because I wasn't even properly attached. So the whole thing was a drama from beginning to end. And then they just told her, you better.
Still is.
Yeah, and I continued. I was like, "You think this is over? No,
I was just wait.
It's just beginning."
So I should have had another kid.
Yeah, she's like, "To hell with that." Like, can I return her?
People don't really tell you like all the crazy shit that can happen when you have a baby. I mean, you think, oh, I'm gonna go to a hospital. I have a birth plan. And here's, and I actually didn't even want to be in a hospital, but my husband was like, no, you can do natural birth, but like you have to go to a hospital in case something happens. And thank God I was there.
Did you have one of those doulas?
I did one of them doulas. I did it with Mac. I did with my first one, and I didn't even have time to have her over to our house because my labor went pretty fast, and I almost had him in the car. The Cedars. And I literally was holding onto the handle. I couldn't sit down in his Jeep. Thank God it was 5 a.m. There was no traffic. But she showed up like at the hospital like 15 minutes before the baby came out.
Oh my God.
She promised me like she was going to give me like a back massage with all these like oils and play music and coach me through it. And I was on my hands and knees in the emergency lobby of Cedars in front of like police officers.
Oh my
God. I was going to have my baby.
My God.
It wasn't as like, amazing like Earth Mother.
Holistic,
holistic experience. No, it was like gnarly.
And why did you not do it for the second one?
With the doula, she was great in terms of like coaching me like leading up, the weeks leading up, and she gave me like a homeopathic regimen and stuff like that. Got me into a good mental place. But yeah, the second one I was like, well, I didn't really need to pay someone like $2,000 to like show up for the last 10 minutes. Yeah. And then she took a picture.
Yeah, what is this whole doula thing? I just don't get it.
I know.
I wish you never had a doula. Sorry for a doula.
No, it's really it's a very daunting, like terrifying experience for some people to go through childbirth. And so this is like, it's like a coach. It's like saying, I'm going to run a marathon, and so I'm going to get a coach to help me through it. Right. And because a lot of it is a psychological thing. And so I think that's why people use doulas. And I knew that I was going to do like unmedicated birth. So I wanted to have someone there who could like help.
How about the pain factor? You didn't get an epidural or anything then, and you just went through au naturel?
I certainly did.
How was that? I mean, wow.
It was not awesome.
Wow, that's a great circus act, I have to say.
I mean, looking back, I'm like, I don't know why I did that. I think I did it because I was like, well, for me, I can't run a marathon. I've always had back issues. That was like my marathon.
Oh, right.
Some people do things like that to test their mettle.
Right.
I do it all the time with Nita and I. And Nita always asks me why I do the crazy shit I do.
Like, why? Why are you starving yourself for 20 days? And
it's like, we're all so comfortable in this life, and I just felt like I wanted to like test myself and see like mentally and physically what I could endure. And since I'm not a marathon,
did you like practice with grapefruits before and try to see what that felt like? And
there's no practice you could possibly do.
We practiced with a medicine ball.
We did. Yeah, Jill helped me. One interesting thing the doula had me do is hold on to ice cubes. Like, have you ever held on to ice for a long period of time?
Not long, no.
It's excruciating.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. And she's like, you think that's bad?
When you go home, go into your freezer, grab some ice, hold on to it, and it hurts so bad. And so it was like, hold on to this ice and then just breathe through it and see how long you can hold on to it for. And that was a very helpful exercise, actually.
Wow.
But yeah, there's no practice you could possibly envision to help prepare you for this situation.
Maybe icing your vagina before?
Yeah. I mean, your body, like, the body's amazing. It just turns into like a transformer.
I know.
I mean, it's like, it's crazy.
It has a big tunnel. And all of a sudden
and then it goes back.
I know.
That's
what amazing.
Like yours went back. Not everybody does. Not everybody's
Some
goes
women
back.
have to have surgery.
Yeah. No, I think that a woman's body is such an incredible thing. And just the stuff that we go through, even like not childbirth, but like beyond that, I mean, our bodies are so resilient and engineered so incredibly.
It is incredible. You would never think you could go through that. Well, I mean, obviously women always have children, so you probably, you didn't think it was that horrible. Maybe the second time was scary, but it wasn't actually the childbirth thing. It was the after.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have any more after that. No, that's I understand your mom having that. Like, I'm good.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm happy.
So the passion aspect with you and James, you've been together for so long. How do you keep the passion alive?
How do you keep that fire?
Good question.
Or does it transform into something else? Or does it,
I mean, you're both very attractive people, so there is that. There is the looking at each other.
Yeah, he's a handsome guy. He's a handsome guy, for sure. Yeah, that helps. I think it transforms. I think your relationship evolves over time. And there are times when a relationship is very passionate, and then there are times when you're more of like business partners or roommates or friends. And I think just at this point in my life, I think, we're just trying to like raise our kids in the best way and be the best mom and dad, and also have somewhat of a connection with each other. But it's challenging for sure, especially when our kids wake us up at like,
well, that's what
2,
a lot of
3,
people
4
say
o'clock in the morning.
Their marriages take a toll when they have kids because their kids take over everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have any time for yourself to work on your relationship.
Yeah, and we haven't been great about that. So we've talked about it recently, and also having 2 kids so close together, it's like having 2 babies at the same time. So that's just like, I feel like we're a little out of the woods now, and we can take a step back and say, okay, we need to reconnect, but we have to really start making that time. Yeah. And funny side note, this weekend we had finally planned a weekend away, going to Santa Barbara.
Oh.
We haven't had a weekend away together in probably 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
Without the kids. And our new nanny quit on Monday.
Oh, wonderful.
2 days ago.
How was that?
It was.
Was that like planned? She knew you were going away, and she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, it took so long to look for this new nanny, and we really liked her, and we had talked about, she'll be able to stay with the kids. We can start taking some weekends here and there and taking time off, and the kids love her. And then she just, like another family, poached her, which she had signed like a year contract with us. So we did not, we had looked for another nanny for so long. Like this was the one. Yeah. So when she told me that on Monday, I seriously, are you okay?
My turn to cough.
Oh no.
Oh. Sound effects from Jill. Yeah. I hope you're not getting my thing.
I know. I'm like staying far away from your side of the room.
I'm not supposed to be contagious anymore. So.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, all 3 of us have had it at different times.
Right.
Are you okay?
Dust.
Oh, you need more wine. That's
Water's behind you.
You need some Savi B.
I'm good. It's got a little dust on my throat. I can feel it. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, so but we've tried, like, we're going to try to make an effort to do that. But it's really hard to do everything, to like manage like work and work on your relationship, and then
do you have anybody, like family members, that help you with the kids at times if you need to?
We don't have anyone hands-on. I mean, his whole family's here, and they're wonderful, and I adore them, and his parents are incredible, but they're a little older, and our kids are just rambunctious, crazy boys,
That's also a lot when you have 2, for people to take care of when they're not.
Yeah. And like they do things to like hurt themselves that you can't even wrap your head. Like, like you didn't think within the realm of possibility. Like my son came out the other day, and he like took his pants down and jumped on 2 Lego cars as a skateboard.
Oh, no.
Like roller skating on top of Lego cars with his pants around his ankles.
Oh no.
And I was like, why, like, what in your right mind caused you to do that? And like he was like flying down the hallway with his pants around. I was like, oh my God. So you just have to keep these kids alive.
Yeah, kids crying at the same time.
No, like, poor thing. So yeah, we don't have any family that can help. But so it'll get better. But yeah, it's hard. It's a balance. That's
what's hard, because both of you are working, and you both have kids, and so who takes care of the kids when you're working out of home though, right?
No, I have an office.
Oh, you have an office.
Yeah. I tried working out of home for a while, and it was like I was hiding from my kids when I needed to.
So if you don't have a nanny, do you have temporary people that come in to take care of them?
She's now sticking around for 2 weeks till we find someone.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that was a panic moment there. Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah, right when you guys were supposed to go away.
I know, and I think she might stay this weekend, so we might actually be able to go away. Yeah. But now we're unsure of whether we want to leave her with the kids because she's leaving. It's like a weird thing. We're like, and of course we got like a non-refundable reservation.
Oh no! Where were you supposed to go?
We were going to the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't been away in like years, and like it's gonna be like fun, just to like recoup a little
Get
bit.
some massages.
Yeah,
and
just like watch a lot of TV and do nothing and
Drink.
have room service and drink.
Well, you should be having some sex.
Yeah, maybe sex too. If you can remember what that was.
Exactly.
Right?
So, so I think you just have to make an effort, and we have not been great about it, and but we're still like, we're very close. I think your relationship just evolves,
It does,
at different times.
Well,
in
you
your
do.
life.
And like you said, you have different roles. Sometimes you're like siblings, sometimes you're like best friends, sometimes you're like lovers. As long as you manage to keep passion alive at some point. If you still feel the passion, even if you're not engaged in it, if you feel it, if you feel attracted to each other, then you haven't lost anything. It doesn't really matter,
Yeah.
And you're both over 40 now, so is it a little, like people always say they want to have kids when they're younger. It doesn't always happen. Most people do, especially now, have to put it off till later. What do you feel like the difference is between having little babies or, toddlers after 40 for both of you?
Yeah.
Versus
Exhausting.
I was just going to say, people
my
have them
God.
younger because you have more energy.
Yes.
As you get older,
Yeah, if I could go back, I would probably have kids when I was like 30.
Yeah.
But that's when I graduated from business school.
Yeah.
So it was like I really chose, to move my career forward.
Yeah.
But, I would be doing that now instead. So, they're exhausting. I mean, it's just saps all your energy.
It does, yeah.
I think we would have both had them earlier if we
Those
if we
little
had
blood suckers.
Oh, man. Rascals. Yeah.
So it is true what they say, that having kids after 40 is definitely harder.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I think it depends on, if you've been trying for a long time and you're finally able to, then, I mean, you kind of appreciate every minute. But from an energy perspective, it's harder because, you think about it, like you're up a lot at night.
Yeah.
You have to run around after them. You really don't get any moments for yourself unless you really protect it and try to carve it out.
Right.
So imagine, I mean, they wake me up at like 6:15.
Yeah.
And I get them ready for school, and then I go to work, and then I come home and put them to bed. And from 6 a.m. until like 8, I'm literally doing stuff nonstop.
There's no breaks.
No breaks at all.
No you time.
Yeah. And the office is my break.
Right.
So like, I used to joke with my friends that like Monday's the new Saturday.
Yeah.
Like the office, I can actually like have a conversation or sit down and have lunch.
Right. I always felt like that too about work. I felt like once I got to work, I could actually rest and do work, and I could focus on one thing. You know?
Exactly.
You don't have to focus on different things or the house, the problems. Like it's like a place where everything's organized and it's on a schedule.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's super fun. Our weekends are so fun, but they're just exhausting. So over 40, it's a challenge is the energy.
I know. I had a friend, she had both her kids over 40, and she had them like a year or two apart, and she always tells me that she adores her kids, like they're wonderful, but in hindsight, she should have stopped at one because it's just a lot of work.
2 is, I thought 1 was stressful, and then we had 2, and we're like, this is next level. But at least it's like man on man. And if we had 3, I mean, I don't know, we'd have to go into like a zone strategy.
And you have 2 boys.
Yeah.
That's the thing too, is like, I never thought there was that much of a difference between boys and girls, like innately, and there is like a difference.
Huge.
I mean,
God, like boys are hyper.
Yeah, they're just like full of this physical energy.
Well, that's what they're meant. That's their whole genetic being.
Yeah, and our older one is very much like that. The younger one's like a little more chill, but the older one, he's like a linebacker. Meets Dennis the Menace.
Just get them into lots of sports to burn all that energy.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's going to be like the captain of every team.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So just keeping up with him alone is crazy.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Little brother can chill a little bit more.
But they keep you in shape too.
Yeah.
Right?
So how do you stay looking so fabulous?
Yeah.
And I mean,
Where
how
do you carve out your time to get your hair done or do your nails or get fit? Or
Monday.
Monday morning. No, I feel like I've aged in like, in like dog years since I have kids. Like 10 years ago. The dark circles are really intense. But I try to just live a very like balanced lifestyle, like eat pretty well. Like I'm not super strict with myself. I think I'm just lucky genetically to like, not have to struggle with like weight issues and stuff like that. But I have to say, like, I just don't exercise as much as I want to, and my body just hurts a lot. I mean, like I'm sore from sitting in my chair, which is not good.
Well, there are sacrifices, right? When you have kids, that's the things you give up a little bit.
And a career, because you have kids in a career.
And a career.
Yeah.
Because, in Beverly Hills, like the people I see at the gym every day, they drop their kids off at school, go to the gym for like 2 or 3 hours, go get their lunch, nails, pick up the kids.
Dreamy.
It's pretty nice.
Well, once they start to go to school, you probably have,
exactly. When they have a full school day.
Right.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, my goal is to make it to your boot camp once a week, and if I can do that, like, I feel so much better. But it's tough. Like, my kids are just not great sleepers, so I could get up at 5:30 and go work out, but if I'm up from 3 to 4, like, you can't do that to yourself.
No.
I mean, I'd rather like sleep a little bit and keep my sanity.
Yeah.
So I drink a lot of wine,
Yeah, that always helps. So she's down to a straw in the bottle.
Yeah,
Forget
exactly.
the glass. It's funny. My girlfriend used to tell me. She called me and she goes, "Oh my God, it's coming." And I'm like, "What's coming?" She goes, "Summer break." What do I do with the kids? Like, she was,
You're a full-time mom. Yeah, summer break. It's
right.
like, why is summer break so long? Nobody enjoys it.
I know. She's like, where's the camp? I gotta find camp.
It's not good for kids.
No.
Like, they forget everything.
I know.
Yeah.
So you have to send them to summer camp and find, and they're like, you're like so relieved to let them go again because mommy never gets a break. You know?
Like, the only people who really love a long summer break are the people who can go to like Europe for 2 months.
Right.
Or, and that's amazing. And I hope I get to that place in my life.
Yeah.
But everyone else is like, why is there such a long break?
I know.
Even like preschool spring break is 2 weeks. And I'm like, why is it 2 weeks long?
Well, one of my friends used to send her kid to summer school because she's like, she says, there's not a camp that I can send them to long enough.
Yeah. My sister is a public school teacher, and she's like, it does these kids a disservice too, because they come back, and she teaches a lot of like underprivileged kids, and it's in Nevada, and so she works really hard to get them to a place, and then they leave and come back and like have forgotten everything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So how do you prioritize like taking care of you? Like, what are the most important things for you to do? Is it your food? Is it getting some stretch time? Is it getting some like play with the kids kind of energy? What do you do?
I haven't been very good about that, and there have been times in the last few years where I've gotten really stressed about that. I've gotten to the point where I've hit a breaking point, and I've realized that I really need to be more proactive about carving that time out. So like last year I started doing tennis once a week with some of my mom friends.
Oh, cool.
Which was like our little happy window of time after work where we just do like a tennis lesson together, and that was just a lifesaver for me.
Yeah.
But what kind of drove me to that point was like after my dad passed away, I'd started my business like 2 months before he passed away, and unexpectedly. So it was like a whole traumatic situation.
Yeah, that's very traumatic.
And then we opened our pop-up store like a few weeks after, and then I had my kids, and they were so young, and I just started I just wasn't spending any time on myself at all, and really started like seeing a detrimental effect on my health. And so I've tried to be better about even just carving out that hour, and then James and I talk about it in advance. Like, he needs that time too.
Sure.
So we try to I try to do my Saturday mornings with you,
right,
if I can, or if I have 1,000 birthday parties, I can't. But just carving out like at least, one morning or an hour on the weekend to go on a hike, go get my nails done, whatever it is.
So you're saying like physical activity is what feels the best for you?
Yeah. I mean, the other things like getting my hair done or my nails done, like those things have really taken a back seat. I think like the clothes in my closet are from like 5 years ago. But you just can't do everything all at the same time, right?
No.
So I'm choosing to focus on like trying to fit that like 1 hour of exercise or a walk or boot camp or something in to keep me sane and to keep my body
and to
healthy.
burn some adrenaline, to get some, release your thoughts. Have that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so good all around.
It's a mental, physical kind of self-care.
But definitely being over 40 now, which like feels so weird to say. It's like, I feel 25.
I'll get over it.
You always will. Trust me, you'll be in your 50s, you'll say, I still feel 25. What's going on? Why do I have gray hair?
Exactly. It's like I'm noticing like I'm definitely going to have to start making much more of an effort in the future to just feel healthy. I mean, and not feel,
And the thing is that's what happens is you do get more tired. It comes with aging, So you have to put in more effort to make sure that your body is well taken care of.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm naturally like a very high energy person. So if I get a good night's sleep is number one.
Yes. Okay. That's what, I want you to like stratify.
Sleep is number one. If I don't sleep, I'm a monster.
Yeah.
Some people are like, I am a monster. If you wake me up in the middle of the night, like my kids know. Like, my son came in this morning and they slept all night, and he goes, "You're happy, mommy, this morning." I was like, "Oh, that's really sad that you say that." Like, sleep is number one, and then I would say eating healthy is very important too, and then exercise would be number two, really. But, yeah.
So what are your thoughts on, you have a lot of like very trendy friends, and you were doing SoulCycle for a while, so you've jumped on a couple of trend bandwagons.
Yeah.
As far as like diets go, what are your whole thoughts on that? We've talked about it a few times because there's so many diet trends, and they all start here in LA, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's crazy the stuff you hear.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of the anti-diet trend person. Maybe being raised like by a French mom, it's like the whole philosophy with food is just like moderation.
Butter.
Butter all the time. Yeah. But it's just everything in moderation, including moderation.
Portions are small, so it's portion control.
Yeah,
really.
and I love food. I love like real food, and so I never grew up eating fast food or like candy. And,
exactly.
So I just enjoy food, and when I try to restrict myself, like it backfires. Like I go way in the wrong direction. So the way I feel about diet trends in general is we just don't know enough about the individuals' bodies to tailor a diet that's like perfect for them. So these like larger trends that are fads, I guess, they don't work for everybody.
No.
And I mean, you study this all the time. Yeah. Like it's your microbiome. It's like your own personal, like, roadmap, whatever you call that in your body.
Yeah, and your DNA. For sure.
It's like, my dad grew up on a wheat ranch, so I can, I eat wheat.
No gluten problem.
No gluten problem for me, but they're like, my husband can't eat gluten now. So it's,
What happened?
He just has, he just developed like a really bad sensitivity to it and dairy, and he hasn't had like all the testing that you need to have, but
dairy I can see because they put so much stuff into it.
Yeah.
It is one of the more allergenic foods.
Yeah.
So what happened? What kind of symptoms was he having?
Just horrible stomach issues, and it was very debilitating for him. And so it kind of like culminated in like 2 weeks of him like feeling terrible, like not really having any energy and like so his doctor just said cut out gluten and dairy, and he feels a lot better, but he hasn't gone into like the whole like detailed testing thing, which I want him to do. But he has that sensitivity that I don't have. I can pretty much eat anything.
But it's true that your body goes through cycles, though. So you get things every 7 years, your body changes, and all of a sudden you can't tolerate something that you used to tolerate really well.
Exactly. Because things build your head around that.
Well, because things build up in your body, and then eventually there's just a breaking point for some people. Yeah. So like if he's been having, the whole gluten thing is just very strange because like most people actually have a problem with the FODMAPs, which are these 6 different carbohydrate molecules. And gluten is actually a protein, and FODMAPs are 6 different carbohydrates. And more people, when they cut out bread and certain foods that you cut out when you're gluten-free, they're actually cutting out certain FODMAPs too.
Okay.
And or the doctor is smart and just realizes that they need to be on a low FODMAP diet. So it's not trendy. It's just getting rid of these food substances that just happen to have a lot of these particular like fructose, oligosaccharides. Which just causes a lot of GI distress for some people. So it's really confusing. And then a new study just came out about probiotics now, and now they're finding that they found in the one study that was just released that people who were taking probiotics after they got off of their antibiotic, it was actually preventing them from growing back gut flora.
No way.
So rather than giving you gut flora, they found out it actually prevents you from growing. You would grow it back faster if you don't take probiotics.
Crazy.
Oh, come on.
So you can't do anything right.
No. Well, there has to be a natural process to things, and then we screw it up by adding our own little ideas.
It's probably something like that.
They had a big segment yesterday on the news about the dangers of the keto diet, and there had big warnings about it. So, everything
has like big fad that you hear about, like a year later, there's like
there's negatives and positives to everything, and I think it also depends on your health and what if you have health issues, if you have high blood pressure or cholesterol problems.
Jim can't do it because he has familial hypocholesterolemia, which is the genetic version of high cholesterol. So no matter what diet he goes on, his cholesterol doesn't drop at all.
Wow.
And we had his particles tested, so that's an important thing. Yeah. So if anyone
how do you get your particles tested?
It's called an ion mobility test, and it's so weird because most doctors don't do this. Like, we have the same doctor. I had to tell our GP to give Jim this test because when you have high cholesterol, all they think about is just dropping the cholesterol, and that's going to solve all the problems. But I have high cholesterol for someone who works out and eats the way I do, but it's not dangerously high, but it's just, I fortunately had a boyfriend 10 years ago who was a heart surgeon, and he went into more of this vascular stuff and found out about this new test, which is an ion mobility test. And within your LDL, so he said, wow, your LDL is kind of high for someone who works out as much as you do and eats the way you do. And he goes, I want to do this new test. And this was 10 years ago. And he says, oh, your particles are fine. And he explained the whole thing to me. So within your LDL, which is supposedly your bad cholesterol, they're not actually all bad cholesterol. You have these big fluffy particles within LDL, and those are safe and fine to have. They don't clog up your arteries. They kind of just bounce through like beach balls. And then you have medium size and then small. And then you have small particles within your LDL. And those are the ones that I kind of describe like BB gun pellets. And those are the ones that actually puncture and get stuck in the little tears in your arterial walls.
Wow.
So you can have high LDL like I do relative to, my lifestyle and be totally fine because I mostly have high particles and large particles and medium-sized particles. And I don't have too many of the small, dense particles. But Jim has a lot of the small dense particles, and so within LDL there's actually dangerous cholesterol and then not so dangerous cholesterol.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily, so anyway,
but like if you go to your doctor, they're not going to look at that.
I don't know why they don't do that.
Not?
I don't know why,
especially with
it's like a $25 test. Like, just get it done.
Heart disease is like #1 killer, and people, they don't really investigate deeply unless you request certain tests
you have
to be done.
Request,
yeah. And I think it should be standard because if something is on the rampage like you have cancers and all that, they should do standard testing.
Well, I don't think the statin companies want people to know.
Right.
They just think if you have high LDL, just take a statin, and it'll lower
money.
and it'll lower both.
Right.
So there's that, but you might not need it. So for a while, we were trying to determine if Jim really, really needed it.
Yeah.
And so that's a big issue.
And then Jim has had problems with the medications he's been taking too. There's so many side effects, so you're just like a lab rat.
Yeah.
Going
and they give the same medication to like men as women, and it's just like you can't. That's why it's going back to like
it should be more designed to you, right?
It really, I think diet should be more personalized. Medicine should be, and we're getting there, but
5 to 10 years we'll be there. Yeah. And they'll be using more DNA to determine what diet you should be on. So I think it's fine for people to try the keto diet. The only problem is, almost everybody, I'm going to throw out a number out there, but at least 90% of the people that do it don't stay on it. I tried it. I felt great. I look great, but there's not a lot of food that I like on the diet, so I can't stay on it. But I was like lean as shit, and I was like just, totally ripped, and I felt fine. And my cholesterol changed minimally. I tested my cholesterol before and after. Yeah. Microscopic change. If anything, like maybe 1 point. It was.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Wow. So it could have just been like the day.
Yeah.
And for Jim, it was like skyrocket.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know that there's like a danger unless you have familial hypocholesterolemia.
Well, they said people that have cholesterol, high blood pressure, all those
just
things.
Logical.
They were finding that people were getting
right.
Yeah.
But it's like I think if a diet's fine if it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It's good for your body, but it's not going to be good for like your body or
well, not everybody can eat a high fat protein diet. It doesn't work for your body. That's why you have to look into it a little bit deeper and see what your body is most compatible for.
And also you have to what I always ask myself is, for me, food is such a source of pleasure and eating, and I love sitting down for a meal, and I love cooking and wine, and so it's like, okay, so I could look a lot better and be more ripped and probably be in better shape, or but also I enjoy food. So what's the balance there between? Yeah,
but you look like you're not pre-genetically disposed to having an obesity issue.
Yeah.
No, I'm very lucky in that way.
Some people I know they do everything and they eat well, and no matter what, they have that one extra bread crumb and they blow right up.
It's true, absolutely.
They're not blessed.
Yeah, and that's why it should be, I think, personalized for what that person needs. But there's also just the the pleasure that you get from having a meal with people. And
I should honestly be 500 pounds.
Yeah.
Because my appetite is that of 3 truck drivers, and I can't stop eating. I love food. I'm a foodie.
Yeah,
Well,
same.
not enough people do like what we were. There's the paleo diet, which I definitely, and that's probably what James has to be on now, because if he's not having dairy and he's not having.
You know what he's on is and I think he's just struggling with it because he's trying to still eat the things that he loves, like bread or waffles or whatever, but he's subbing like the gluten-free version, which is not necessarily better for you.
Definitely
not. So, and that's something that I've been trying to make a lot more like clean eating type things for him, but it's hard to cook that way too, especially when you have little kids, so for him to go on a very specific diet is challenging because we're kind of part of this like family unit. Like he can do it during the day, if he's at work, and he can go get a lunch that is, fits.
But you
that
can make
profile.
like paleo bread for him or something, or paleo muffins.
I've
made some amazing ones.
Yeah.
On my website, I have these amazing paleo muffins.
I will check out the
They
recipe.
are delicious.
I love a muffin.
Yeah, I know. I've tasted one of yours.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go into our bitch fest because we've already hit much. Are we ready to bitch fest?
You guys go ahead and bitch fest. I'm going to have a think.
Okay.
I know I had one written
I
down.
see your bitch
and then
fest.
it was on an emotional moment that I wrote it.
Oh, well, do you want to? Well, that's a good one. I like yours.
yeah.
Do you want to talk about a product that we love?
Do you have a product that you really love?
In what category?
Any category.
Anything, something
I
that you just
mean, I think I
can't live
mentioned.
without.
I think I mentioned my vibrator once.
Maybe your daily routine. Well, that's her daily routine, but maybe your is a vitamin. I don't know.
A product that I love. I do. If we're going to talk about something girly, I do love my mascara.
Oh, I was going to mention that one last week. Which one do you use?
It's Kevin Aucoin.
Coin?
Yeah, Aucoin.
Oh yeah.
And what I love about
Oh, it's not a coin.
I was going to say Aucoin, and then I was like, I'm not going to sound pretentious. And what I love about it, as it was described to me when I first bought it at Barney's, is it's like little cashmere socks that go over each one of your eyelashes. So you remove them very softly. It's not like it coats your eyelashes in this like silicone something, so it doesn't come off with normal makeup remover. It literally comes off in chunks, like with warm water.
Oh my goodness!
But it also doesn't really run.
Oh, that's
all.
great!
Really?
I just love it. I've been using it for like 10 years. Yeah.
Oh wow!
Seriously, I never
My
knew
eyeliner
that.
runs all over my face, but my mascara is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you used it, Tata?
No, I haven't. I was going to talk about one that I was using from Benefits called They're Real. And it was really great for years and years and years. And lately, I've been very disappointed when I buy it because it's always dry and flaky now. And I find it just gives your lashes a nice volume. It holds. It doesn't run. The same things, and it's very easy to remove. And I was really like hyped about it for so long. And then just the past month, I got very disappointed. I bought some new ones, 2 new ones.
Maybe you
and
got
I
a
tried
bad
both.
batch.
I know. Also, too, a couple of months ago, it tends to dry out much quicker. So
Bummer.
I'm not loving that anymore as much as a benefit. Since they stopped You Rebel, it has gone downhill.
Yeah, we used to use the same like BB cream.
Yeah.
The stuff was great. And then they stopped making that.
Yeah.
And so then I tried to get this other like light foundation. It's sort of like the Chanel one. So I ran out of Chanel, and I've just been lazy about going to a store to pick it up. And so it's the kind you shake up. It's very liquid. And so Benefit made their copycat version of the Chanel version, and it works awfully. I mean, it just literally slides off my face. Because I like to use like one product that I wish I had known when I turned 40 is using a primer.
Yeah.
Like makeup artists, I always thought, that's just an upsell. It's an upsell. It's an upsell. And then finally I decided to buy some primer and put some on. And I was like, thank God for this lady at Sephora. And she made me put a primer on. And I was like, why have I not been doing this my whole life? Why didn't I shuck out the $25 for a damn primer? It's amazing.
I need to try one. I'm pretty lazy with makeup. So
Something I do like from Kevin Aucoin is their eyebrows pencil with the little brush on one side and the eyebrow. That I always buy from them.
Yeah, I like that.
No, I haven't used that.
I've recently discovered eye masks too. Like
yeah.
I didn't wear one today, obviously. Look at my eyes.
I like those
But I had 3 different people gave me eye masks as a gift, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the hint now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, thanks, guys. But they're like these little floppy gel things, right? You put under your eyes.
Really?
And you leave them on for like 10 minutes, and then you massage the serum in afterwards, and it's like a miracle.
Is it?
For your eyes.
Oh, you got to let me know what that is.
Amazing.
I need that. I always have puffy eyes and all sorts of problems under
they're
my eyes.
incredible. And if you have like a important meeting or you're going out or something, it's like, it's great.
Yeah, I used a couple. I used a Rodent and Fields one that was really good. And then like there's some good masks from Dr. Jart, like those Koreans really know what they're doing with the face mask. So those are really good hydrators. I like those.
Yeah.
But a product I've been using that I really like is there's a couple of eyebrow pencils. There's one that has the crayon, whatever you call it, on one side, and then the brush on the other side. It was from like NYX. Is that how you pronounce it?
NYX is great. Yeah.
It was like $8, and I was like, wow, this is like the nicest little eyebrow pencil. So that was cheap. All right, so
that's a good find.
It was a good find. So those are products. Is it time for the bitch fest?
Come on, girls. What do you have to bitch about? What was bugging you this week?
Just more people with the gluten-free thing, man. It's like everyone thinks that because Gwyneth Paltrow is gluten-free that it must make everybody thin and gorgeous and blonde and marry a rock star. But I'll tell you, people order, like, you love gluten-free pizza crust. So do I, just because I like the taste.
Well, it's Z's Pizza, yeah.
Yeah, I like the taste. But they actually have more calories, and oftentimes they're just as, if not more processed than just using regular dough, because dough is just wheat, water, yeast.
Right.
The end. And some salt.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's very minimal products. But then when you look at sometimes they use sugar, sometimes they don't.
California Pizza Kitchen, that's how they make their crust, because they're really good because they put a little sugar in it.
A lot of bread companies put sugar in. So I always buy ones that don't have any sugar. So that would be like La Brea Bakery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most don't. And so if they just make the basic, crust, it actually has less calories and is less processed than the gluten-free one. But everyone thinks that gluten-free is healthier, and they're made in a factory too, with tons of different ingredients all getting pumped into a gel and that mixture, and then spread out and then sent to the factory to get wrapped and pressed and sent to Trader Joe's and the supermarket. So it's not any better.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that, because I've been looking at all these gluten-free products because of James, and I'll read the ingredients, and it's just so much processed stuff, or it's like rice flour or tapioca flour or potato flour.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are these gluten-free waffles quote unquote better for you than a piece of like whole grain bread? I just don't.
They're not. And then look at the calories on it, and the gluten-free one's going to be even more calories. So people think they're doing something better for their health, and they're really not. They're just replacing ground up wheat for ground up dried. So first, with the potato, they have to dry the potato, they have to dry the peas, they have to dry whatever other products that they're using, cauliflower, and then they have to ground it up and pulverize it and make that into powder too. It's nothing different than what they're doing with wheat. It's the same thing.
Same page.
Okay.
Cauliflower is another one that I want to bitch about for a second.
Yeah?
Cauliflower has gotten so popular.
I know.
First of all, I think it's disgusting personally, but
I love cauliflower.
Beyond that, it's hard to digest.
It is.
For
It
most
gives you
people.
gassy.
Yeah. And then and also they do a lot of like cauliflower crusts that are, I think CPK has one, but they hold it together with cheese. So there's like actually like cheese in the crust.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, maybe not CPK, but a lot of other places, like that's the binding agent.
Right.
Yeah.
I know Trader Joe's has one that's frozen that you can make your own pizza with a cauliflower crust pizza.
Yeah.
It still tastes like cauliflower to me.
Yeah. What about rice cauliflower? I've been adding rice cauliflower to everything I make now.
So I don't know
Just
why
to
that's
think
better
I'm getting
than brown
vitamins.
rice.
It's just for the carb conscious. Because it's very low carb. So people who are doing the
And
paleo
it's a
diet.
vegetable.
Yeah, it's a vegetable.
I actually, and it's a cruciferous vegetable. So in the cruciferous vegetables, there's something called sulforaphane, and sulforaphane is a molecule that they found actually has anti-cancer benefits. It actually helps prevent cancer, but you can't overcook it. So if you're actually going to make cauliflower, you should steam it, or
not like mash it into a pizza crust.
You
is
can.
What you're saying.
Well, you don't want to overcook it and then mash. Yes, it's going to lose some of the chemical that needs to bind with another chemical to make sulforaphane. So sulforaphane is a combination of two different chemicals. I'm talking to an engineer here.
No, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
I love learning this, because now I might eat cauliflower like once every couple of weeks.
Yes, but you can do bok choy, kale, broccoli, and what's another one? Asparagus. So any of the cruciferous vegetables have sulforaphane, and just don't overcook them. And they're incredible. Like they may prevent. You can take them in supplement form too. You don't know how well it works, but the studies that they did shows that it actually helps prevent cancer.
So that's amazing.
why I love cauliflower.
And that's why you should, I think, integrate it, like rotate it into your diet.
Yeah.
But people, at least a lot of people I know here in LA, are eating cauliflower everything all the time, like cauli rice and then cauli pizza crust, thinking it's so much healthier for them. But like, I totally believe in integrating that stuff into your diet, on like broccoli and cauliflower and kale and asparagus.
Yeah.
All of those things are so good for you.
Yeah.
But too much of any of those things is going to like have some other impact on your body, you know?
It can hurt you. But you know what I do is I'll take cauliflower rice and I'll throw it into a pasta sauce so you don't really taste it.
Oh, okay. That's a good tip.
So I add things like that, or you can throw it into things where you don't feel it, or a soup if you're making homemade soup, you know?
Well, I have a good one. What I do is I make risotto out of it.
Oh,
so you have to add a little cheese to it. So I take the cauliflower rice and
that's a gas fest.
Yeah.
Cheese and cauliflower. And
then I take
cauliflower.
No, it's not. It's not too gassy.
And maybe some 35% cream in there too. You know?
I can't have cream. I'm lactose intolerant.
So I do the cheese.
No,
vegan cheese.
You can use vegan cheese, but what I generally do is I saute the mushrooms and I saute the cauliflower rice, and then I just put it into a bowl and I take Parmesan cheese.
Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah, it's really good.
Anything with Parmesan is good for me.
Parmesan makes everything better.
Yeah. So that just makes it's just
question.
basically a lower calorie version of pasta. So that's what I use it for.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because I
Those are
can
some good tips. Thank you.
I can way overdo the pasta for sure.
I know, same.
Nobody. That's why people get fat from pastas. Nobody has one serving. One serving is the size of this. Right? If you fill this up with pasta, no one. Everyone's doing this thing right there.
Exactly. And then you go for seconds. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why pasta isn't bad for you. It's the amount of pasta.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So like if you eat the appropriate amount of food for your body, then it's like nothing is horrible for you.
I must eat that whole tray full of pasta.
That's the problem.
And then half a bottle of wine.
Yeah, well, I have a problem with that. Yeah.
It is addictive.
But I did eliminate garlic bread on the side. Which,
Okay.
you know, growing up, that was always with the pasta.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's the
I mean, Olive Garden just needs to go away. How do we get rid of Olive Garden? They just got to go. So do you have anything to bitch about?
Well, she did. Cauliflower.
Oh, you bitched about cauliflower. I bitched about the gluten. What about you?
Oh, I don't know what to bitch about, actually. I'm so sick for a week now. That's been my focal point of bitching.
Yeah,
I have nothing else to bitch about.
You got it really bad.
I got it really bad, and I always do when I get it. That's why I'm annoyed when I'm around people hacking around me, because I know I'm so susceptible, and then I get it really bad. It just doesn't go away. And that's why I feel bad being around people when I have it.
But you were also in a really bad environment. It was hot, it was cold.
It was everything. I was in the desert, and it was windy, so you have a lot of dust.
Oh, yeah, that's
And then
bad.
it went from really nice and beautiful warm, where I was wearing short sleeves and everything, and within a half an hour, it turned bitter cold and windy and dusty, and I didn't have anything to, I was out somewhere, so I didn't have anything to cover up properly with.
Yeah. So that's how you get sick. That's how I got sick at the Tony Robbins thing.
absolutely.
And then,
I was like outside in Florida, and then you're in a conference room, and he decides to make it.
He ACs it really high.
Yeah, to like, till you're like frostbitten, like minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit in there. And so I got really sick from that at that Tony Robbins conference right after.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because you're in Florida, so it's hot out. And you come inside and it's like
Humid.
freezing.
Yeah.
I also find when I was younger, in my 20s, like I didn't care if I was sick. Like it didn't stop me from doing anything. But now at my age, it really does take a toll on you. It's such a bigger deal.
That's definitely the one, like a big challenge about having kids is when you're sick, you can't stop.
No,
you can't
there's no
slow down.
stopping. You're
So,
sick and you're working as hard as when you're not.
Yeah, and it's like, something that may have like taken me out for a week is now taking me out for like 3 weeks because I'm not sleeping. I'm not, so and I got sick, this walking pneumonia from the first rainstorm we had that was so crazy because I was like soaking wet in the rain. Then would go out inside in the air conditioning. Same thing.
Right?
We're just delicate flowers.
Right now.
But I hate that. I wasn't
over
brought
here.
up that way, I come from Canada. I'm used to the bitter cold and fighting all the elements. And who cares if everybody has a cold in Canada? That's the norm, And here it's such a, you're sick. Oh my God. Wear face masks, everyone.
Yeah.
And,
Well, this was a bad year for me for sickness. And this is this is just a dust thing that went down into my tonsil.
how it starts.
So,
not.
No. I get
I
those.
know.
I get those all the time. Do you have your tonsils?
I do, to my knowledge.
Me too, yeah.
So my tonsils have had so many infections that they're really sensitive. So
Oh,
if
boy.
I'm breathing and like a little dust thing or just like a little
Particle,
speck,
yeah.
hits it, it's like, like I just cough my brains out. So this
that sounds
happens
horrible.
somewhat regularly. Hopefully not all the time when we're filming. So Nina Tell us where everyone can find you.
littlelama.com.
And where'd you come up with the name Little Llama?
Yeah, llama.
So llama, it's not spelled like the animal. When we named our business, the llama animal was not as trendy as it is now. So llama is our kids' initials. So Lucy, Anderson, Millie, and McGregor.
Oh, how cute. I love that. I actually thought it was llama, like the animal. So, right.
And that's how a lot of people spell it. And so
I knew it was
LAMMA, Little Llama.
Little Llama.
All right, so they can find you at littlellama.com.
I love that concept because, you know, having been going to a lot of other people's events where they have kids parties and everybody that's having a kid, sometimes when you're busy in the fashion industry, you just don't have time to, you know, so you have to have some instant service to get you that perfect gift. You know, that's right. That is the right gift.
It's a brilliant idea. And I've used their service.
Yes.
For a
it's
baby
fun.
shower.
We try to make it super fun too.
Love
so
that.
it's like you get all the fun of shopping by you get to pick out the options.
Yeah.
And they're really fun to look at, and then
And
you don't
can
have to
mix
do any
things,
work.
right? You could put like a little top
You
with a
can
book.
customize everything.
Right.
Yeah. And
love
we're all
it.
moms, so we get into it. We love it. Like, we love gift giving. And
So how do moms afford all these things? I have to say, because you guys are invited to everybody on the neighborhood and all your friends and all your relatives, every single birthday party or somebody lost a tooth party or whatever, and you constantly have to buy gifts. It's expensive.
It's expensive. Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, when you're going to a lot of birthday parties, you know, if it's a good friend, you might spend between $50 and $100, but you have these like different pricing tiers, right?
Yeah.
So if it's a classmate you don't really know, it might be 20 to 30, and so you have to really budget for it.
It's hard because you have that demand on you, and you know you have to do it.
Yeah,
it's protocol.
Exactly. And in LA, there's like a birthday party arms race. You know, I mean, it's not the way it was when I was growing up.
I know. What
like
is that?
My 3 friends in the backyard. No, it's like you invite the entire class.
Oh, God.
And then they have to invite entertainment and food, and I mean, I've been to these things. I'm like, whoa.
It's amazing.
Where was I when I was a kid? Why wasn't I invited to any
I
of
know,
this?
right? I got like a homemade like party hat.
Yeah, my mother
had a
baked
blast.
My mother baked cupcakes. And that was it.
But
So,
you
like,
fun, right?
Betty Crocker cupcakes, anyone? Yeah, some Kool-Aid. That was the party.
So whatever your price point is, you can direct people into like the best gift for their price point.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're all about being thoughtful. So if you want to spend $30, then we can find a gift.
Can you
at
even
30.
get a gift at 30? That's
you
nice.
Can,
oh my God.
Or, you know, and we have people who order $500 baby gifts for their clients or, you know, someone really close to them. So we put together these extravagant, like amazing baby gifts. So we really have a range depending on your budget.
So is it for baby parties and kids parties, or is it also for baby showers?
To what age range?
So we go from like 0 to 8.
Okay.
So littler ones. And then after that, they kind of like start developing a lot more of their own preferences, and like they're picky. They're playing video games, and they're picky.
Yeah.
So even like below 6 is where like the parents make most of the decisions.
Yeah.
So and it's for baby showers, like new baby gifts, baptism, bris,
great. Yeah.
toddler birthday,
It's just everything.
holiday, Valentine's Day. We also do like for spring break. A lot of parents, when you travel, like a little tip that we always have is to bring some toys on the plane or like stickers. It doesn't have to be expensive, but like an activity bundle to keep your kids busy, especially when they're way too young to like watch an iPad and they just want to be busy. So we sell those little activity bundles for people.
That's great. Those are great, actually.
Yeah, so you kind of whip it out on the plane. It's like this really fun, exciting. Like I brought like a bag of pipe cleaners on the plane one time. I'm busy for like an hour, you know? So it's not like you're buying them. Like it's not like well, I know, crazy, right? But
that in 10 years is not going to work.
Yeah, I know. So
they'll be cleaning a different kind of pipe at that point.
Oh my God. See, leave it to Jill.
I was just waiting for that to happen.
She's going to corrupt them. Never let her babysit, by the way.
I don't smoke anything. My lungs are very sensitive, and so are my tonsils. I don't smoke anything. I can't deal. Yeah, I mean, I could bitch fest about that because I don't know how you live with Ben with his smoking. I would like be choking.
He is quarantined to the outdoors only for his smoking.
Any kind of smoke, I'm allergic to. I mean, just like even like you can just imagine my tonsils and my throat gets so raw.
I'm the same. I have like I don't have asthma, but like reactive airways.
Yeah.
So when actually James and I started dating, he was a smoker. He'd been a smoker for like 15 years. Yeah. And that just wasn't going to work for our relationship.
Well, especially with the kids now.
Yeah. And to his credit, I mean, he quit pretty quickly. He actually got hypnotized.
Oh my God.
He tried everything else and it didn't work. And then he just went cold turkey. And
maybe that would work on Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was incredible to watch that happen.
Wow. I
Yeah,
have a
but-
client that just asked about hypnotism. That's cool.
I think lung thing is an LA thing because when I moved to LA, my lungs became hypersensitive, and my doctor at the time said it's because of the air quality here is so different than Canada.
It never
Yeah.
happened. I grew up in Sun Valley with like the cleanest air, and when I moved to LA, that's when mine
No,
developed
me too, because I never
Mine
had
too.
these issues. I mean, I had the occasional strep throat or something because I was, burning the candle at both ends in college, but definitely nothing like here.
So
Yeah.
don't move to LA, folks. It is not the healthiest place to live.
Save your lungs.
your lungs will collapse.
All right. So, Nina, it was awesome having you on
Thank
Find
you
Things
so
Nina.
much.
Yeah,
Yes.
you
We
guys
hope
are
everybody
amazing.
checks out
We enjoyed
Little
it.
Llama.
Little llama, so cute. Thank you.